So some of you may or may not know who Joe Rogan is. And if you don't, then you've probably been living under a rock for 50 years, or you're just more than 50 years old, perhaps. Or both, I guess. But if you don't, he's literally the top podcaster on the internet. If you don't know what a podcast is, it's basically the internet equivalent of a radio show. But it's way better because it's the internet, number one, and number two, there's no rules. I'm gonna wait for this fucking truck to pass. I bet you don't get very good blowjobs. In the bathroom stall, the rest stop. Anyways, blowjobs aside, Joe Rogan is widely known for, as the libs say, platforming a wide, vast array of guests. All of them sort of high profile to some extent, all of them sort of having some level of notoriety somewhere, be it fame or infamy. He kind of embodies that liberal, in the classical liberal, whatever sense, the centrist, I guess, ideal of everyone deserves a chance to speak and share their opinion. And he really does put this into practice. He's had everyone from Alex Jones to Gavin McInnes to fucking Milo Yiannopoulos to Kyle Kulinski on the left and Abby Martin on the left, Cornel West even, and now Bernie Sanders himself. Now, normally people are aggravated by the fact that Rogan had the aforementioned group of people on, the deplorables, as they say. Fuck you, Hillary. But that last one I mentioned, old Bernie Sanders, people are starting to get mad at too. And it's the same group of people who are all histrionically angry about the deplorables going on. But they're not really mad anymore that Bernie went on the show. Now they're mad that it worked. These sort of hysterical cancel or liberal mobs are angry by the fact that Rogan endorsed Bernie Sanders recently. He said that he would probably vote for him. He also said that he told Mayo Pete, Lib Warren, and fucking Joe Handsy Uncle Joseph Biden to eat shit when they requested to go on his platform, and that I commend him for. But I think that shows you the demand of the Joe Rogan experience. It's a massive audience. It's a massive opportunity that Bernie took. And Rogan took the opportunity to talk to Bernie. And Bernie convinced Rogan of his platform. To the extent enough that Rogan said that he would probably vote for him, and told Mayo Pete and Lib Warren and Handsy Biden to eat shit. And he said it to Barry Weiss's face, which I love, because I hate her. If you don't know who Barry Weiss is, she's one of the New York Times editorial writers and journalists. Now, the New York Times did not endorse Bernie Sanders, which tells you a lot about them. And tells you a lot about Bernie himself. They endorsed two candidates at the same time, Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren. Now, I think that's really fucking stupid. But here's the important part. The New York Times pales in comparison to how much effect they actually have, how much influence they actually hold on the general population than that of Rogan's. The New York Times likes to pretend like they're moderate and like they're the center. And yeah, we do call them centrists, but we do that because they're centrists as in they're equivocators. They commit centrism where they should not. And also they're just to the right of us. But let's be honest, they're probably to the right of the Everyman, the true center. And who would that be? Well, I know somebody who sort of flips from a sort of libertarian right-wing perspective into a sort of social democratic, more left-wing perspective on issues, sort of a few times a week, depending on who they talk to. They talk to a lot of people, they're very open to ideas, but they generally are kind of more culturally reactionary than I would like, but also a little to the left on economics, which is pretty great. And that someone is fucking Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is the everyman. I don't mean that in a class sense. I don't mean that literally like, oh, he's just the average guy. No. Joe Rogan is worth millions of dollars. The average guy is not. But ideologically, politically, Rogan is kind of the average dude. And unfortunately, the average dude lately does not understand trans people. And that is the main driving force behind the outrage in this case. Joe Rogan has said a lot of transphobic things before. Joe Rogan basically, like I said before, does not understand trans people. He's not really like the transphobe of like abject loathing, hatred, and disgust. He just is like the live and let live, libertarian thing of like, yeah, go ahead, do what you want, but I'm not gonna bother to understand you and make you really feel like a human being and like included in fucking society. And I would argue that we shouldn't use an essentializing label like transphobe on someone like Joe Rogan. We should get someone to get on the show to educate him and his audience about the topic from a first-hand perspective. And that's someone I think should be ContraPoints. The queen mother of trans lefty YouTube. They can bond about cancel culture together as well. That would be a dream come true. Just like Bernie going on there and it working. Rogan endorsing him practically, saying that he'll probably give him his vote. That's a material thing that helps the cause. Our cause, the left's cause. It's really nothing to be outraged over. And let's be honest, outrage doesn't help anyone. Do you really want a world where we push all of our supposed enemies into the fucking shadows and we just live like they're not alive? Because they still fucking will be and they won't change their minds. What do I want? Transphobes, homophobes, racists, fucking fascists. What do I want from them? I want them to change their fucking minds. I want their minds changed. And I believe that can happen. And I believe that we as the left should hone and use and allow ourselves to exist within the framework that these people do so that we can change it from the inside and with dialogue and mutual understanding and empathy. We can tap into that. Don't you believe that human empathy exists? Are you really a fucking communist if you don't believe that empathy is a natural human proclivity that we should harness and use? Because I don't think so. I think you're just a fucking liberal. And I want everyone to have healthcare. I want neo-Nazis to have healthcare. I want David Duke to have healthcare. I want Richard Spencer to have fucking free healthcare. I want every fucking KKK member to have free healthcare. I don't give a fuck. Because when someone is fucking hurt and sick and needs fucking help, they fucking deserve it right there. That's how it fucking works. That's how Medicare for All works. That's what Medicare for All is. And that's what Bernie is for. You know what else is part of Medicare for All? Mental health services. That's not part of fucking Warren's plan. Bernie's Medicare for All plan benefits trans people. Bernie is the trans candidate. I could turn my dick inside out for free under Medicare for All. If Joe Rogan endorses and votes for Bernie Sanders, the candidate that will help trans people the most materially, then how fucking transphobic can he really be? And you can argue with me about that. But the point is, that would help us. A lot. And this endorsement just helps us a lot. Because Rogan is the everyman. Rogan reaches the everyman. And now, more of those average fucking people More of those fucking normies that we all love to complain about, that make our lives feel uncomfortable from time to time. And for some of us, all the fucking time. If we can get those people to help us, isn't that the world we want to live in? So that's it. This endorsement is so fucking substantial. So many more people will be throwing their weight behind Bernie now. And now those people, the true center, people who don't consider themselves ideological or political at all, or maybe they do consider themselves political, they're just kind of confused. They're probably mired in capitalist realism and all these other myths that I try to dispel on my channel. That's not Rogan's job. Rogan is mired in capitalist realism, let's be honest. It's because he's an average guy. He's the everyman. We want the everyman on our side. That's how we win. Coalition. We need to coalesce. And that is it, folks. So that's it. We need to change minds. We need to get the everyman on our side. We need to get as many people as possible on our side, in as many ways as possible. And this is just part of that process. Forgiveness over vindictiveness. Empathy over apathy. Love over hatred. We're not in a battle. We're just in an argument. I know it feels like everything is crumbling around us all the time and everything is constantly at stake, and it is in a lot of ways. Both those things have a lot of truth behind them, undeniably, but we're gonna make it through this all. I believe in it, and you should too. So let's get serious. Let's vote Bernie 2020. Let's get him in the White House. Let's take Joe Rogan's help. And let's convince him and all the other everymen that we are valid. It's that simple. Love you.